speeches. Today we have such a privilege and an honor, and our next speaker is delivering an 8 to 10 minute speech. And when I asked her for a bio, because of course I have to do an introduction, I said, you know, tell me a little bit about the research that you've done and the experience and the background so that I can do a proper introduction. And she said, my experience was a lifetime. She's here today to talk and deliver a story about her life when bad times turn good. Speech number 10. She will share with you the wisdom one learns through a lifetime of experience that includes the formal and informal education one can only gain from living life and growing. Thus, she is an expert in the topic, i.e. the lessons learned to inspire all. Please join me in welcoming Karen Woodson and give her a round of applause for completing that Competent Communicator assignment as she arrives today.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Today I am giving my 10th speech, thinking good things out of bad things. In November 1999, after 10 years of marriage, my first husband told me that he no longer wanted to be married. No longer married to me, that is. He'd met someone else on the road, a fellow female truck driver, that he decided he wanted to be with. I found myself being a single mother of 3 children and had a very negative mother that told me, no one's ever going to want to be with you, having 3 kids, especially when the youngest has a disability. I was kind of discouraged, but also knew that there had to be somebody out there. I did go 1 year without dating, but it wasn't from lack of interest. It was just a choice that I had made. But to get to a good place, you do have to go through obstacles. Well, the first person I went out with, I could not even tell you the name, and I will not be verbose in describing him. But our first date was less to be desired. But needless to say, we no longer went out. The second date was a young man. His name was Raymond. He was a single father. He had custody of his daughter. He was nice looking if you like the Willie Nelson type. This guy was too serious, too fast. On our first date, he brought along a diamond ring ready to propose. I was so not ready for that one. They say the third time's the charm, but in this case, that's not the case either. That third date was with Brian. Brian was very tall, very nice, and semi-good looking. He was 2 years my junior. The problem was he acted more like he was a junior in high school. He was very, very immature. I'd pretty much given up. That is until one night, while in the chat room, in pops Glenn 54509. He was asking, hey, does anybody know where to play volleyball in Fayetteville? Well, Fayetteville's my hometown. So I thought I would be the good Samaritan and help him out. Now, I don't know if his intentions were more than that or not, but we just started a conversation, and we talked for several weeks when one evening he said, you know, there's a jazz concert this weekend, would you like to go? I was a little apprehensive, but I had always wanted to see a live jazz concert because I love jazz music. And he had told me that, well, I'm only going to be here to December or something, and well, one date won't hurt, and he's obviously not going to want a commitment because he's going to be gone soon. Well, I liked having control of the situation, so when I called him, I did star 68 or 67, whatever it is, to block my number. So when I called him, going against the Southern beliefs that girls should never call a boy. Well, we went on our first date. We went out to eat on the border, which was one of my favorite places that I never could go to because having 3 small children, they could find nothing on the menu that they would enjoy. They refused to try new things. We had our dinner, and during dinner we found out that we were both left-handed. So I knew right away, at least he was in his right mind. After dinner, we went to the jazz concert, which was on the top floor of a newly renovated hotel in downtown Fayetteville. It had been restored to its historical roots, so it was very beautiful, and I had been curious on how beautiful it actually was, because pictures never do those kind of things justice. We sat and we listened to the concert, and during intermission, we went on the balcony to look at the beautiful sights of not so beautiful downtown Fayetteville. And we continued our conversation that we enjoyed so much that we never entered back to listen to the concert in the room, although you could still hear it on the balcony. After our date, we wanted dessert, but there's not very many restaurants in Fayetteville to enjoy dessert, so we went to the ever-popular Krispy Kreme, which was okay with me. He made it even better after we ordered our donuts. He says, well, why don't you get a few more, make it the kids' favorites, and you can bring them home for them for tomorrow. Right away, that melted my heart. I'm thinking, oh man, I'm in trouble. So after our date, he walked me to my car, and he said, well, did you have a good time? I said, yeah, I really did. He said, does that mean I can have your phone number now? Of course, I gave him my phone number. Well, I kept telling myself, and everybody else, and especially the kids, well, we're just friends. He's just a friend for Mommy to hang out with. And the good thing is that a lot of our dates included the kids. And right away, he was an excellent father figure for my children, so much that my youngest daughter called him Daddy Glenn almost from the get-go. She knew he wasn't her real father, but because her real father was not in the picture, he was an excellent person to be in that role. The thing that got me the most with Glenn was when, on Christmas night, after he had traveled to see his mother to D.C., which is a 5-hour trip, he left in the morning and came back. So 10 hours of driving in a day, not to mention the time of spending his mother. He called my house to find out, or to let me know that he was home. Well, I was in the emergency room with my then 3.5-year-old. She had a stomach virus that was very severe. So he wanted to see how she was doing. So he told a little white lie that he was her father, so they would let him back. So imagine our surprise when in the room walks Daddy Glenn. And Sierra kept telling him, you don't want to be around me, I'm sick. And he kept telling her he didn't care. Well, the next day he had to work. Day after Christmas, no less. Joys of the military life, right? He immediately after work, he went to the local drugstore, bought a clearance teddy bear, which she could care less, but this is huge raspberry-colored teddy bear that, of course, she named Raspberry, that she still has to the day, and she'll say, we can never get rid of this one. Well, several years passed, and on May 8, 2005, which also happened to be Mother's Day and my birthday, we went out to eat at my favorite restaurant, which was called Luigi's. Great Italian food. If you're ever in Fayetteville, you have to go there. And we were sitting there, and we knew that Glenn was going to come here to Monterey. So Sierra was just busy chatting away. You know, if we go to California, we can go to the aquarium. If we go to California, we can go to the beach every day, and just on and on and on. And then Glenn said, well, you know, this takes care of Mother's Day. What is it that you would like for your birthday? And half jokingly, I said, well, I'm just ready for that engagement ring you've been talking about. And he said, you mean this one? So immediately, you know, I teared up. Shelby and Spencer, they're just grinning from ear to ear. Sierra collapsed in a puddle of mud in her chair, crying, and then ran to the bathroom because we were sitting right by it, locked herself in the stall. I don't want to go to California! Which she really did. It really dawned on her that, wait, I got to leave Grandma, which spoiled her completely rotten. I got to leave my aunts and my cousins and the church that we go to. So for a young child, it was a little traumatic, but of course she got over it quickly. So this whole story is to say that in 1999, when it seemed you feel like your world's going to end because your heart is broken into a million pieces, you never know that just around the corner There's a man with a bottle of Elmer's glue who's going to mend it all, and it's going to be the best thing that you could ever imagine to come into your life.